We have only just begun, my flock. Soon we will expand from city to city. The rich and poor alike will know a paradise for every moment of their lives. This is a nuke for every mood. We'll offer our customers the opportunity to control every aspect of their emotional lives. Here with the white noise, Black Thunder, Red Ramrod, and Blue Velvet. That was a quote from Robocop 2. I am Alex Humphrey, and I am joined on the science fiction rating system by Chris Redding. Hey,
Hello.
Chris. Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good. And Sam Draper.
Hello.
Hello. You've got some... What are you doing there? You trying to take something...
I've got a sun issue. Hang on.
You got a sun issue. Hey, you need... he's just left. He needs Sunblock 5000.
You need...
I'm back.
Yes, we are here to talk about Robocop 2. A film that we never did. I just was told, kind of off-air, Sam, you said that we did Robocop a very long time ago.
Yeah, episode 22, when we were still doing three films to a show, which, as we were saying, seems ridiculous. We didn't do a whole episode about Robocop. And, your quote from that, Alex, was, it is a pretty much perfect film, which...
I still agree with.
Yeah.
I hold
at the time, it was
that.
number 2 in the list, I think, at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, talking about the list, Robocop 2 from 1990 is directed by Irvin Kershner, the director of The Empire Strikes Back, which is very high up on our list as well.
Higher than Robocop.
Higher than Robocop. Obviously, you've got the guys Edward Newmere and Michael Minner, who wrote the original. Now, they were tasked to do a sequel quite quickly after the first film, and Verhoeven was a bit worried because he was like, "Oh, they're trying to cash in on it. I don't like this. You're going too quick." But they did knock up a script called Robocop Corporate Wars, which it's
brilliant.
I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's got some fucking crazy words in it. But it's set 25 years after Robocop, and he basically isn't he like, something happens to him, he dies, and he's woken back up.
He's brought back up in a world, yeah.
Yeah, and the United States is called a Merryplex, because it's owned basically by corporations. And it sounds insane. I mean, people can look up
The best bit I read was that there's a DJ from space, like an alien DJ who comes down to like help.
Yeah, Moondog, a rapper from space.
From space.
Yeah. There's so many. I'm just gonna read you some words from this. Neurobrain, Outplexers, Leisure Gold, Sexbots, Service Droids, News Blips, Rio. The plexes. They're a bit like the mega cities in Dread. There's New York Plex, Rio Plex, and Delhi Plex. But yeah, it sounds nuts. It didn't happen. Then, I think it didn't happen, and Verhoeven just went off to do Total Recall. So then they, for some reason, decided to go to Frank Miller to do a script.
Do you know why?
No, why?
Because the original screenwriters said, you need to go to someone who's good at comics, try Alan Moore. Alan Moore said, I don't do movies. And then their second choice was, because obviously Frank Miller had just done Dark Knight Returns, and you've got parallels in that kind of like dark Batman and Robocop, so they thought he'd be a good choice.
Yeah, so Dark Knight Returns, 300 and Sin City, that's kind of Miller's main credits.
And being a very odd right-wing nut.
Very right-wing,
yeah, he's a fucking nut.
Yeah, Alex Cox was offered this script at one point, and he turned it down because it was so right-wing that he was like, I'm not doing this. Anyway, Frank Miller's original version was unfilmable, as written. So it had to be rewritten again by Waylon Green.
Before we go any further, do you know that he did publish his version of the script?
Oh.
It's a comic.
Oh, okay.
I tried to read it.
Interesting.
Poor, is all I say.
Oh, it's not very good. That's a pity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pity. Anyway, so Waylon Green came in, the Wild Bunch, and Wild Bunch, great credit. The other credit I could find for him was Eraser. Do you remember that Schwarzenegger film?
I quite like Eraser. When he wrestles that crocodile.
It's not bad, but
that's Eraser, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So anyway, this is the Robocop we had, and the story, as such, is this. Barely a year after the events of the first film, Detroit has descended further into chaos. Police strike over pay. OCP, having failed to create another cyborg cop, positions itself to take over the city, and a new drug called Nuke rules the streets. Only one thing stands in the way of total anarchy, and that thing is Robocop. Has everyone seen Robocop 2?
Yeah.
Did you remember it very well?
I remember it was really cheap and shit compared to the first one.
Because I couldn't really remember. There were bits of this that I thought were in 3, basically.
I remember the bit at the start with electrocution, but I thought that was in 1. And I also remember being sort of irrationally scared of the bit, when Robocop 2 goes down the lift really fast.
Yes.
For some reason, I remember finding that quite terrifying. I don't know why, but...
I remembered the montage of the other Robocops, but I remember really long. I remember that being like...
The failed ones,
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen 3, though. I don't think I've seen that, so I think...
Can I tell you what's in 3?
He flies, doesn't he?
Yeah, Robocop gets a jetpack.
Yeah.
No, it's bound to happen in the 90s.
Yeah. We start out, though, considering this isn't a Verhoeven film, we start out with a very Verhoeven-esque opening. This kind of weird funk soundtrack, and there's this dodgy little guy in a car park, and it all looks a bit... It doesn't look modern, does it? It looks quite old, doesn't even look 90s. It looks kind of 70s. But we quickly realise it's in fact an advert for Magnavolt, an auto security system that electrocutes people trying to steal your car. And then we cut to some
They have
footage.
those now, don't they?
Do they?
South Africa, I think.
Oh my god.
Do they really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh god.
God. Wow.
You cut to some news reports, and basically the Amazon nuclear power facility's blown its stack, irradiating the rainforest. And one of the news anchors is like, environmentalists are calling this a disaster, and the woman's like, but they always do.
That's what they do. It's good days.
I quite like all that. It's kind of... I quite like this beginning. I quite like this start. It feels quite Verhoeven. It feels like you're back in the old world. Yeah,
they do a good job of tricking you into thinking this is like Robocop 1 early on, I think. Yeah.
Yes, they do.
It's really extreme, though.
Yes.
What do you mean?
It is.
It's like, I think sometimes these people that pick something up that Verhoeven did the first one for, they forget that it's supposed to be like a dark comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not kids.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
or satire. Like they forget that it's supposed to be a satire.
But I think that's the genius of Verhoeven, isn't it? That he works that line so well.
Yeah,
it doesn't fall into parody, does it?
No.
It remains like grounded, but also just completely out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're completely right that like the tone from the off. You're right. They're too over the top with it.
Yeah. So you get like the Surgeon General getting slain in a fury of bullets.
Similar things happened with Starship Trooper sequels, I think, as well. Yeah,
it's not... Verhoeven's not really praised enough for how he treads that line between the kind of ultra-violence and the satire. Yeah, you're right. People obviously think it's easy, and it's not. So then we cut to Detroit.
It's kind of like the manufacturing of Robocop itself. That people think it's easy. Cue epic fail montage.
Yeah, I quite like this tracking shot when you're in Detroit, and you get like it's like this. It kind of moves between all the kind of hookers and like the woman feeding her baby.
Violence on violence on violence.
Yeah. So then the old woman gets her car hit, but then a man looks like he's helping, but he actually steals a wallet. But then some prostitutes beat him up. And then they go past some other people, and then there's ram raid the shop. Yeah. Like I quite liked how that moved. I thought it was quite well directed.
Yeah, I think it's a good.
It looked nice.
Good opening. Yeah, and it's a good setup for the world, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I thought that a lot of the scenes, the environments look very real. Like they do look like just terrible parts of towns.
Yeah, I think the whole film has got a lovely light to it. I think there's something about Robocop, the way they light him really bright.
Oh, yeah. And
there's something about that look. It's got, it reminds me of Predator 2. I know that's kind of a different film, but the way you can kind of feel the climate on the screen sort of thing.
Yes, yeah. I think this Detroit feels real. I think you feel like this is a real city. And you get lots of different areas. They don't keep returning to the same places. You get a lot of locations. Like, there's a bit where you, later on, when they drive down a huge alleyway and it's all tagged with nuke logos. And I was like, but they've actually had to do that. They've actually graffitied that entire alleyway with that graffiti. Because that's not, like, that would have been done, had to be done for the film, surely. Anyway, Robocop turns up to stop this robbery in progress. This suit is made of fiberglass, because I think Peter Weller hated being in the first one, how limited he was his movement. So this is a kind of lighter weight suit.
You can kind of tell the sheen on it is not.
I think it looks kind of plasticky.
Yeah.
I think he moves a bit funny as well. Do you think he's like?
I quite like it. I think he's got. I think we don't praise his physical performance. I think you can almost forget that he is actually doing all of that.
Yeah,
Peter Weller. I think it's a great performance. I think he's great as Robocop.
I think it's a bit too pantomime, this one. I think it was quite as exaggerated in the first one. I might be misremembering that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, he basically it's all basically about them trying to take this drug down, this nuke, there's a big gunfight, and he does that really cool ricochet shot off the fridge with his little that was really cool targeting. Officer Lewis turns up. Now, wasn't she a cyborg at the end of the first film? Isn't that the big twist at the end when she's injured and she's like, "Oh, I'm hurting really," and he goes, "Oh, they'll fix you up. They fix everything." It's like the really tragic final line.
I don't remember that.
That means she's a cyborg.
But did you think it implied that they were going to augment her? I thought it did.
Talking at the end of the first film, though, hadn't Robocop got through all the issues of him not being comfortable being a robot at the end of the first film?
Yes, I feel like he had.
Like a lot of the start of this film forgets that they did all this already, and he was.
Yeah, flashbacks are.
I mean, it is a strange film. It does feel very much like a second film. There are things that happen in this that don't really get resolved. And also, I feel like if you didn't know who the hell Robocop was, you've got to catch up quite quickly. I mean, it's not a complicated character, but they don't really give you much backstory.
You know what I didn't get? You know, they're on strike, aren't they, the police?
Yeah.
But they're not all on strike, are they? So there's...
No, some of them seem to just be working.
But you'd think that the other police would have a problem with the ones who are breaking the picket line and going to work. But they don't seem to be too bothered about it, do they?
They shout at Robocop. They have a go at Robocop.
Yeah, but just because at the start I thought literally he was the only functioning cop. I thought that was quite funny. If the whole of Detroit had been policed by one cop. Yeah, but then you see his mates there, and there's a few others, aren't there? It just seems weird. Yeah. I don't know. It's very well defined.
Yeah, as you said, Sam, they kind of go down this line of talking about his wife, and I think this is the first film the wife is actually. It's the only film that she's in it. In the other two films, she's in flashbacks.
Right.
And I quite like this. He's been stalking her, and what you thought in the first film was this reconnection. Now it's turned into this weird, like he's basically just a stalker, isn't he? And they say that she's had all this therapy and that she's really fucked up by it all, and they make him say he's a robot, and it's all quite like it's quite horrible.
It's good, but it goes nowhere. Like that's the problem with it. They kind of just like forget. They kind of drop plots off, and
yes, they do drop plots off. I would say in some moments of this film, that's actually to their That's a positive that they drop things off quite quickly. So I mean, he's still kind of tortured as a man machine. But OCP are busy trying to make a new Robocop, another Robocop. And basically, there's this brilliant montage. Like I say, I remembered it being really long. Yeah. It's only two robots, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember more of it as well.
Why are they so shit compared to Robocop? Like, I don't understand.
They don't really answer, do they?
Like, you think they would have started with, like, the body of Robocop?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
As the main...
Yeah, why do they change how they look so much? Yeah, because there's one that is blows his own brains out, and there's one that's just a skeleton head that pulls his own head off. But they don't look as good as Robocop, do they?
No,
it's weird.
Compared to the Ed 209 scene in the first one, which is like done so well, and it's so scary, that scene. What happens in it? This is kind of like such a cheap version of that, isn't it? Because they're watching telly. It's like, and the footage looks so shit.
I quite like how they show it, though. I quite like.
It's just a bit slapstick, isn't it? Though it's a bit.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it. I quite.
They kind of ripped this off in one of the Iron Man films.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. We're here, so we got the old man who is the same boss of OCP as in the first film, and his kind of right hand man is Donald Johnson, who's also in the first film. There's a lot of returning characters, but the new person here is Juliet Fax, who's a kind of evil psychologist, and her thing, she says, which everyone is asked as Chris just asked the question, why does Robocop work and is great, but none of the others work? And she's basically just like talks about him being a devout Irish Catholic and kind of says it's duty that's kept him alive and nothing else. And they're a bit like, all right. And she's basically insisting that they don't use police anymore. And her thing is going down the path of using convicted death row criminals.
A lot of Frank Miller on the page here, isn't there? And I wonder whether maybe his ex-wife left him because of something a counsellor perhaps, a marriage counsellor perhaps said to him, something like that.
Maybe as a Scientologist.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think, again...
They hate them, don't they?
I quite like the kind of anti-psychology elements of this. I think it gets kind of interesting later on. I quite like that element.
Kind of, but again, I don't really see what point they're making. It's all over the shop. It's so muddy what she does to the Robocop and what she does with the other people. I don't really understand what they're going for. But
she should just stick to the family business of fax machines.
Yeah, she should. Yeah. It's obviously where she made her money. Yeah. So Robocop's back out trying to find where the nuke is and where Kane...
Well, hang on, you've missed the city's gone bankrupt, haven't you?
Yeah, they haven't paid their rent. Which is incredible because Detroit actually did go bankrupt, didn't it? In 2013. Like, of all the things to predict a city, and the actual city that went bankrupt is just wild. OCP own the police,
and if the mayor won't pay them... then they default on the whole city, and the whole city becomes owned by OCP.
Yeah.
Do you think that idea?
Do you think subconsciously that Detroit as a city was paying homage to Robocop 2 throughout the 90s as they got more into debt?
Maybe.
Because there's a statue of Robocop in Detroit, isn't there? I think there's a statue.
If there isn't, there fucking should be.
I think there is.
Yeah. He's their...
It's weird.
He's their first son. Come on. So that's going on as well. There's a lot of plot lines. There's a lot of villains in this film. It's a multifaceted film. Robocop is out looking for Kane, the head of the factory making nuke, the designer drug that everyone's addicted to, and he's kind of weird. He's got this. Kane's got this weird gang, which has got a woman in it, a guy with Elvis sideburns, who people call Elvis, I think, and a child who is the most just swears. He shoots people. He's just horrible. And a lot of people had problems. A lot of the reviews basically had problems with that character. They were not happy with that character at all.
Do you think it works as a character?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good character. Why not?
I think it's a bit, like Chris said with the over-the-top stuff at the start, I think it's a bit over the top. It's a bit ridiculous to have this, especially as he becomes the mob boss later on. I don't...
Yeah, he does.
It just doesn't really feel like...
No.
It does
feel like a comic, I guess.
It is cartoon,
yeah, it is like a cartoon.
Yeah, it's not satirical anymore or like a dystopian future. It's just stupid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
Maybe maybe we're already hitting a ground where I like comics a lot more. Maybe that's why I'm buying a lot more of this than, you guys. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't. I think in a comic, I probably wouldn't mind it, but it just seems a bit ridiculous. And also, I think because we've seen RoboCop 1, and you would not have a child running a mob in RoboCop 1.
No. I mean, I guess they are. Yeah, it's turning everything up to 11.
It really is. It's that sequelitis of let's do it bigger this time, basically.
Yeah, and more mucked up. I mean, you get later on, you get a kids softball team robbing a shop, beating up the owner. It is pushing everything, isn't it? Yeah. Robocop gets to the base where Kane is. He finds it. And also there is pictures of Jesus, Mother Teresa, and Elvis's dead body seems to be there in a case for some reason. But it's kind of it's a bit of a trap, isn't it? Because they've got a magnet basically That seems to be their main weapon against Robocop is a magnet, a very big
weapon.
magnet. Well, it works. It works. And they deconstruct him. I quite like the parallels of this scene when you're seeing it from his POV and they're drilling into him.
The one in the
I like
first
the
film.
parallels with the first one when they're building him. I quite liked that.
But why are they doing it though?
Just to say that because they dump him back at the police station basically as a fuck you to the police.
Why don't they just kill him?
I think they'd more like it's they're just
Psychological warfare.
Yeah, they don't need to kill him. Yeah,
they're just ruining property.
Yeah.
If I was running a drug gang, I would have killed Robocop. It just feels very, short-sighted to not remove the biggest. You literally know the guy is built from parts, right? So to disassemble him implies you can reassemble him. And they even say that if the company would play ball, they could build him back up in no time, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Just think it's a poor move on the drug dealer's part.
But they did defeat him pretty easily. Like Magnet,
just go all the way. Like, he got his head off, just like melt his head or whatever, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
You'd have liked to see that, would you? Robocop's face getting melted.
I would, yeah. That's the end of the film.
That's the end of the film, yeah. So they do rebuild him, even though OCP is kind of holding out a bit. And basically, Fax is, doing her plan, basically trying to get death row inmates into a robot. Having hot tubs, Japanese garden hot tubs with the OCP old man.
Yeah, nice.
Which is great. I like that weird, when they're working on Robocop, I like that weird little screen that opens up and just says emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a really weird fail-safe. It just pops up and says emergency, and then he goes, "Arr," and then dies.
That noise he makes is weird, isn't it? Like, kind of...
So again, at this stage, Fax has she's kind of everywhere. She's taken over. And again, it takes a bit of a swipe. This is another swipe this film takes, where she has a board meeting and says, right, we're going to reprogram Robocop. What directives do you want him to have? And people just say all these ridiculous things about, like, I want it. He shouldn't be so violent, and he should be like,
he should teach the kids to do stuff, doesn't he? Things.
Yeah. Do you want me to read you? I'll read you some of his directives. Participate in group activities. Avoid premature value judgments. Pool opinions before expressing yourself. If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't talk. Don't run through puddles and splash pedestrians in or other cars. That's one of them. Don't say that you're always prompt when you're not. Encourage awareness. Discourage harsh language. And then one of them, which is a little swipe at the company, avoid Orion meetings, is one of his directives. As a piss take to the the filmmakers. But so she programs in all these new things, and I quite like this bit when she's directly just typing what he's saying, and she's taking over. And she's like, "Oh, psychology is just shit, and like it's so clumsy, and this is much better. Like I'm freeing you." Because I can control you. Like
this scene, like the way she does it. I don't like that scene because it is so, again, clearly a very right-wing man going, the only solution... Look at all these namby-pamby people, these ridiculous ideas.
Yeah.
The only solution is guns and violence.
Yeah. Okay,
which is, again, so over the top of the things they're saying. Because that's not a meeting that would happen, especially not in the world where Detroit is in that state.
No, we're in a huge dystopia here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then also... I don't understand why this Fax does reprogram like that. Like, what is she trying to achieve by making him like that?
It's stupid. It's like that Gremlins scene, the Gremlins 2 writing scene.
Yeah. I mean, we get we only the good. As I say, one of the good things about this film is it gets an idea. It doesn't hold on to it very long. So there is
So it's a shit idea.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fine.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So the fact is, there is a whole sequence now where he is like the kind of silly Robocop, but it doesn't last for very long. Other films would have made this half the film.
But why has she done it though?
It's
because it's
a comic book thing. It's just a
well, the old man has said that more chaos in the city is better for the city because he wants the city on its knees, basically. She's just mucked up in the head. She's just power hungry, I think.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I do quite like this scene. He poses, doesn't he? He poses in the.
I like he looks at the
he
kid
does
like
the
that.
weird, yeah. And then he arrests.
That's where he uses lethal force to put a cigarette out.
Yep. Did you know that was actually used as a public service announcement ahead of several different films in many non-smoking movie theatres during some movie seasons of that? Yeah.
I think what I'll say, I agree, Alex. I think it's all very sort of well made, these scenes.
Yes.
But it's like you're watching a sketch show. It's not a coherent film.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like Chris said, it's like Key and Peele sketches, like just put together, isn't it? In effect, really, It does. The more I thought about it, it does feel like they're trying to connect RoboCop to a third part. By the end of this, because OCP spoilers, OCP get away, and you feel almost like, is there supposed to be a third film where I think
OCP are taken down, or anyway?
I think it's just they're just trying to think, what can we do with RoboCop? And they've got some ideas. We don't know how to make that into a coherent story.
I love it when he's like, the moon looks wonderful today. And she's like, it's daytime. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, that is good stuff. Yeah.
When he's arresting the dead coach, and he's like, I'm very confused. He doesn't really know what to do. He's just trying to read him his Miranda rights. I mean, like I say,
it is like little gags, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
in isolation, that's great, but in the context of the wider film,
turned into like a stoner gag show.
Yeah,
maybe. I also thought, and again, you're going to tell me I'm reading too much into this. I also thought that this was a comment on the kidification and sanitization of 80s action heroes during this period where a lot of violent Hollywood films were turned into children's cartoons.
Do you know what's ironic about that? Yeah, it's this, isn't it?
Well, RoboCop was turned into a series straight away in 1987, where all the violence was taken out. It was more sci-fi, and there wasn't violence. I was trying to look at. There's a Rambo: The Force of Freedom. That's a kids' TV show. Real Ghostbusters. If you think about it, that's
not as violent as these, is it?
No, but I mean, like Ghostbusters turning into real Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That's a bit different from taking Rambo and making the cut.
Conan the Adventurer, that was a TV series.
Yeah. I agree. It's weird.
So I didn't. I kind of, again, maybe I'm being too nice this film, but I feel like maybe they're trying to make a point. I don't know.
Possibly.
I feel like it's there, but maybe, possibly. Anyway, this doesn't take long. RoboCop doesn't give a shit. He electrocutes himself, and he deletes.
That's a funny scene as well.
Yeah, he's just like
just runs off and blows himself up.
But
how does that reprogram him? I don't understand.
No, I don't understand. And also, again, an unanswered question is, when he searches for his prime directives, he doesn't have any prime directives.
Yeah.
None. So are we trying to say that now, I thought they would bring that back to be like, it's actually the human side of him that makes him do what he does, moral. It is the human bit of him, but they don't even talk about it, do they?
I mean, he's already, the fact that whatever is the innate bit of RoboCop, right, is so obsessed with duty that the idea of being nice to children makes him try and kill himself is a pretty fucked up appraisal of what makes RoboCop and why he's a hero. He's like that. He's just
community policing. He'd rather shoot himself.
Yeah,
kill himself.
Yeah, he'd rather electrocute himself and possibly die. Yeah, I don't know. So really, we're kind of halfway. We're in the middle of this film. Anyone intelligent can see where it's going with facts saying how she wants someone in a robot that isn't very nice. Yeah. And basically, there's a huge assault. All the cops assault Kane's facility. That when that I read out that speech. The chemist who's making that's actually Frank Miller.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is. That's his cameo. And I again, there's a nice thing here where the woman in this scene says, we're going to make Made in America's going to mean something again.
Yeah.
And later on, the old man in OCP says the same thing about levelling Detroit.
It's very Trump, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very Trump. I quite like that they've got that little parallel there. I quite like that. There's a big old battle. Lots happens. RoboCop ends up stealing a motorbike. And then, I mean, that is a bit, if it's a dumb chase, and he's just on the front of the thing, isn't he? On the front of the van, and then just and then they don't even show how he kills Kane.
No, he's just gone. He's just gone. He's just like cut, and then it's like, well, Kane's in the hospital now.
And they're taking his brain out.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is exactly what they're doing. So basically, now the kid, Hob, and Angie, they're now the head of the
You
drug.
think that Robocop, knowing that they want to make an evil Robocop, right? If he's going to kill someone like Kane, crush the brain.
Straight away, yeah.
Just crush the brain.
Yeah.
Make it unusable.
Yeah.
Again, there's no, like, coherency here, because Robocop has mobilised the police force in a way no one's managed for a long time to go and get this drug dealer.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's like completely sidelined off the plot and not involved in anything again. It's all back in this psychologist's hand. There needs to be more tissue that explain the relationship between... The lawyer turns up occasionally and goes, "Oh, I'm going to shut you guys down," whatever.
Yeah.
There's not... it's too bitty.
So do you think that ultimately they had this Frank Miller script, which a lot of it was unfilmable, and the guy that came along, he hacked into it, but he didn't really bring it together? Like, that's what the problem is. That you've got these set pieces that Miller created that work, that are more violent, that are more extreme, but there was no coherent... By the time he'd cut, he didn't have anything to put back in. It's just not a film, like a coherent film for me at all. I didn't see... No. So they make Kane into a robot. What do we think of the design of Robo Kane?
Again, if the idea of this is supposed to be like a neighbourhood policeman... yeah, he's huge.
Wouldn't fit through a door for one, would he?
No, he's got those weird, like, extra arms. He has a drill. He has a gun hand. He has a
punching thing that punches through walls.
He's got a weird computer-generated face unit that appears from his chest at will.
And you have to feed him with crack.
You have to feed him crack to keep him in control, which no one has seemed to... Like, they've done that, but then no one's seen that might be a bad idea.
Well, not only that, right? She does that, and then she can't turn him off either.
No.
There's no control. She knows he's basically a drug-crazed lunatic in a gigantic robotic suit.
Yeah.
There's no fail-safes at all.
No, it's an extremely bad idea. It's an extremely bad idea.
And also... It looks really crap because it's all stop motion, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I didn't mind the stop motion. I mean, after watching Nemesis, I quite liked watching something like this.
This is what Jurassic Park was going to look like.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wouldn't have been.
Do you think it looked better in the first one? Do you think Ed 209 looked better? Did they just do less with him?
Looked bad.
Looked bad as well.
They used the practical, non-stop motion for a lot of it. They only used it like when he
walked along,
walking down the steps and stuff.
I think with this, there was a puppet, but it was huge. But there is I see what you're saying, that there is a lot more, especially towards the end when Robocop and him are fighting. It does start looking a bit wonky. It looks a bit like the Harryhausen.
Yeah.
Like, it's not great.
It's just so impractical, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only place he could raid is a big warehouse with a big warehouse door. He couldn't go anywhere else.
Which he does. Yeah. No.
But it's good lucky for him. That's where it was going down, because anywhere else he'd have been stuck.
Yeah, so his old gang are meeting up with the mayor, and they're going to give the mayor 50,000 to get out of debt.
50 million.
50 million, sorry, to get out of the debt.
The mayor, right? It's worse than that. The mayor's having a telethon, right, to try and raise money to get out of debt with the police, with that weird man doing the violin.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're led to believe is, off screen, somebody rings up and says, "I've got 50 million, mayor, down at the docks."
Yeah.
And then the mayor, no fact check or anything, goes straight to CPO or OCP and goes, "Don't worry, I've got it. I've got the money." And then goes to get it from this. What's going on? Like, what is?
No, he's desperate. The mayor's desperate.
Makes no sense.
No.
And how much are they spending on this fucking robot?
Well, they say
That's
how much
OCP,
they
isn't
spent.
it?
Yeah, OCP. I can't remember. They say how much they spent on the failed ones.
Yeah,
but
he keeps going like 40 million, whatever, doesn't he?
Yeah, but how much did this one cost? Yeah.
And if this is what they're doing for policing, what the hell does the military look like?
Well, yeah.
In this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've noticed one of his arms is like a spot welder.
Yes. Yeah. And also, do you know that his POV, his operating system's supposed to look like an Apple operating system, and Robocop's is like MS-DOS, because he's got the little skull instead of the Apple logo in the
So
top.
Frank Miller, right wing, and also Windows Bro. He's got no time for Apple.
No, he's not.
Right, okay.
Basically Robocane goes crazy. He twists his girlfriend's head off. He kills the little child. He nearly kills the mayor, but the mayor gets away, basically. And Robocop turns up just in time for the little boy to die.
That's a terrible scene.
Yeah, it's not great. And
Don't try and redeem. Like, if you're going to go as far as to make this kid head of a drug mob, and you've seen him kill people and all sorts of stuff, you can't just redeem in the last minute. He's like, I'm so scared I'm a small boy.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
Makes
work.
no sense.
No. So the mayor's kind of in shit because people are like, well, how come there were some city officials in that weird giant slaying that happened? And OCP has basically built a new building instead of the city hall.
Yeah. Again, that's not been mentioned at all, has it, through the whole film? All of a sudden they're like just going to press conference there.
But I quite like how insidious and secretive their takeover of Detroit is. I think it would be like that. And I think it is happening, and we have had things that have been privatised or whatever that we didn't really realise was happening.
Definitely, that idea is extremely strong and really good, and of a privatised city, and the way they're forcing, they're engineering the things that bankrupt the city. That's clever. It's just that, it's one idea lost in a sea of other nonsense, isn't it? So
there are a lot of other things. There's too many other things going on. It's too many voices.
But also it's ruined again by the fact at this meeting they go, the end game was bankrupting cities. We're going to build an entirely new city. Well, that's not why you wouldn't bankrupt a city to spend money on a city, would you? That doesn't make any sense.
No, they kind of want to.
Level it, aren't they?
Blow up Detroit and then rebuild it.
Well, what's the point of that? If you want to build a city, you'd build it just to the left of it, or whatever, wouldn't you? You wouldn't just. That's not a reason to bankrupt a city, is it? You bankrupt a city so it rebuilds with all the facilities privatised, and you just cream the top off, like you say, like that's what modern Britain is basically. Like we are that. Yeah. And I guess that isn't a very fun film, but like it just doesn't make any sense to have their idea is we want to invest lots in real estate. Like what? That's not. That's not.
We want to own it all to destroy it to then
build it again.
Yeah. When we've already wasted all this money on another Robocop that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there's a kind of bit, isn't it? There's a bit here where the old man and the mayor have this argument, and it's quite a sledgehammer, but it's very obviously supposed to be pitting. He's kind of working class. He's black. He's from the neighborhood. He's from a neighborhood. He's poor, relatively poor, and then you've got the old man is this white, rich.
But the problem with that is though, I'm sorry to keep going on, but like this is another problem. That's completely undermined because the previous scene, the mayor was going to get in with the drug dealers and was fine with them killing whoever to keep the city going, run by the mob. So he's got no leg to stand on, the mayor. No. I don't understand how you can have that scene going on when you just like, hang on, we just saw you trying to pose, get with Hobb, the drug kid.
And I guess in the hands of someone like Verhoeven and the original writers, they could have put that nuance in and shown that even the kind of goodie is still a bit dirty or he's still kind of bad, but because it is more of like a sledgehammer of a film, that's not really in there.
Yeah, I think you need
really work.
You need a mayor and another character. What you need is the mayor to be pulled in after that scene before, don't you? And for the well-meaning underling to now be the one who stands up to the corporation. That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So they've got this lovely model of the new Detroit that has this nice hole in the middle that they can then pop the Robocane out in the middle of.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Because he's all like, the Robocane's there, and the old man's like, we're going to get rid of this nuke stuff, and he's holding the canister, and the robot's like, give me the drugs, like that I'm addicted to. It's so...
I like his little cracky hand that comes out.
Yeah. And the way all the people in the crowd are like laughing, like, oh, look at this, is funny. Like, look at what the robot's doing. Like, and it just goes south very quickly. He just starts killing people. Because Fax is like, it's not even armed. And Robocane just takes it, turns it on.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Just turns all the weapons on.
And then someone says to her, what can you do about this? And she's like, nothing.
And the big boss just goes, behave yourself!
Oh, yeah.
To, like, the Robocop and stuff, Anyway, so there's a big, massive fight involving the aforementioned elevator that scared you, Sam. Why did it scare you?
It is quite It is quite
the speed
scary.
of it. I don't know, the idea of it coming quite fast down that thing. I don't know. I just remember that
The way
image.
it climbs back up it is quite scary.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a weird fight. They basically go... They're in a big hall, they go through a corridor, then they go in an elevator, they end up hanging off the top of the building, then they plummet through to the basement of the building.
They don't explain how that happened.
No. They plummet to the basement of the building, then climb out to the street level of the building. Lewis takes an armoured vehicle and just smashes it into Kane, just to kill him. But that doesn't really work either.
No.
And it kind of escapes from there into like a proper big... This is when the kind of the model work gets a bit ropey, doesn't it? When Robocop jumps on him, and it's like a bit
too
like...
much.
Yeah. I mean, Peter Weller criticised this script, saying it lacked the spine and soul of the original.
Yeah, no shit.
He said the third act needed a morality angle instead of just being a shoot-'em-up. The producers felt the battle between Robocop and Kane was sufficient.
It's a really long fight, isn't it, as well? It goes on for a very long time.
Yeah, it goes on for a very, very long time. And yeah, in the end, as Chris mentioned, he should have done straight from the beginning. Robocop rips his brain out and just stomps on it. And says goodbye. Just he's like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Just stomps on his brain.
Quite violent.
Yeah. And then there's just this like really abrupt where
it is abrupt.
OCP are like, oh shit, we need someone to blame. Oh, just blame that psychologist.
Yeah.
And then the mayor does a speech, and Lewis is like, oh, they're getting away with it. And Robocop's like, patience, Lewis, we're only human. And then it just stops. And I was just like, what? No, hold on. This is really abrupt. What, you haven't really...
Nothing's
You're kind
resolved.
of almost at the beginning... You've got back to the beginning of the film, almost.
Yeah, nothing's resolved at all, is it? Other than,
No.
I guess, we know that OCP are going to take over the city.
Yeah.
Quite a dark ending, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean...
But you're right, it's like the whole events of the film are completely pointless because the drug's still out there. The bad
They didn't
guys...
make another Robocop.
No.
Well, I guess it's kind of like reality. If you're just an average Joe cop,
I don't
everything
know.
goes back to normal.
Oh, sorry. The Elvis-looking guy's called Catzo for some reason. Or that's what they
Catzo.
call him. Yeah. So overall, what did you all think of Robocop 2? Chris, what was your thoughts?
No good. I remember it being like tacky version of the original and like no nuance to any of the like the messages and the stories.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I do like Irving Kershner.
I think it's well directed. I think it's a solid.
It is well directed.
I don't think the problem is in the direction.
I think the story just isn't there. And yeah, he didn't do for this what he did for Star Wars, shall we say?
No.
And the script is just terrible. And as you know, it's just loads of little sketches, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
it's not coherent.
I don't think the Nemesis is that bad. Like, I don't think it's just a crackhead guy and then like bewilderingly gets put into a Robocop.
Yeah.
Like mental. It is like, I know. I remember when I was in school though, and like it was made for like 10-year-olds, and I guess they were loving it.
I mean, there's an element of that. It amps up all the action and the violence and the.
I don't think this one's got... I know the third one was made for kids, wasn't it? But I'm not sure this one's... I mean, it's still pretty violent. It's not as bad as the first one, is it?
I mean, only the naughty kids at school were watching this.
Right.
Sam.
From my school. Yeah. I don't know what.
Everyone else's schools, yeah. Sam, what is this pretty much your opinion too?
I mean, yeah, I've made my point clear, haven't I, really? It's a mess. It's a mess. But I will say, I do think, yeah, the production design's good. I think the direction is competent at least. And there is a lot to like in those individual scenes. Like, you're right, that scene is funny with the kids.
Yeah.
And quite a lot of Robocop's lines are quite funny, aren't they? And he's quite a...
Yeah.
They play up that deadpan nature quite well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it is a competently directed 80s action film. The problem is all with the story, I think, and the lack of coherency.
Problem is, it's the 90s.
Yes, the 90s now, it's all gone wrong. And just, obviously, you can't help but compare it to the first one. And in fact, it also forces those comparisons, the way it keeps putting adverts in. That stupid advert for, like, the way the ozone layer's gone, they're all wearing blue sunscreen.
Yeah.
Like, those adverts in the first film aren't skits at all. Like,
no.
You know, the I buy that for the dollar, keep coming back and stuff like that. It's not that they're, like, funny, just there for laughs, are they? There's a lot more going on with those.
Yeah.
It's just in the first film, they're there to sort of ground you in the world, aren't they? And you get I don't know. They seem to fit more coherently. I mean, this film literally stops and plays an advert, doesn't it? Out of context, completely out of context, and then goes back to the film.
Yeah.
So I think it's a misunderstanding what makes Robocop good. I think it's some ideas and no coherent script, and poor.
Okay. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was entertained. There wasn't enough Ed 209 for me. I love Ed 209.
He's better, isn't he? He's like one shot, isn't he?
Yeah, just that bit. And that cool corridor that has all the... like a gun, Ed 209, and Robocop. I love that corridor.
Ed 209 should have come back to save the day.
Yes. Robocop should have repurposed an Ed 209 to defeat...
And rode it around.
Yes. Yeah, they should have teamed up.
Yeah, like it's his horse.
Yeah, that'd have been great.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can see all the things you're saying that are wrong with it, but I like this kind of film. I was entertained. I think maybe I'm being too nice to it. I thought there's some quite nice readings you could put on there. I thought there's some quite nice commentary you could say. But I think I'm looking for that a bit more. I like.
Hang on, isn't the commentary though just like arm the police? Kill the poor.
No, like I said, like the kind of thing about like the sanitization of those 80s.
Right, yes, yeah.
And also, I think you can see RoboCop himself as like an anti. He's a parody of 80s heroes, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
Everything he does is, and I think they build on that in this, that he is this parody.
Yeah, and for the way they call the came on literally RoboCop 2.
Yeah,
that's quite a clever thing to do, isn't it? Yeah.
Weirdly, just a weird one, and a weird aside. TV spots for this film featured the catchphrase "maximum thrash." However, this was never an official tagline or subtitle for the film. RoboCop 2, maximum thrash.
Weird.
Imagine that. That's so 90s, isn't it?
It's very 90s.
Very 90s.
Maximum thrash.
One thing that's come from this film that I'd like to put forward is I like Peter Weller a lot. And there's a film he's made that says it's a sci-fi film, and I've never seen it. I don't know if we should try it. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
I've not seen that. Of this film? I've heard of it, yeah, I've not seen it.
He's in a band, and some aliens come, and the band take them on, or something like that. It sounds
good.
It sounds mental. I think it is a sci-fi film. I haven't looked into it enough, but it's one of his main credits. You might know there's him with like a tie on sideways playing a guitar. Like it looks really odd. It looks really, really odd. But I think I'm putting that forward maybe for another
I think we should do that.
Future episode.
I don't think there's some scenes where it seems like they're using some sort of robotic head on this film, they should be using him.
Oh, there's
Peter Weller.
Yeah, there's the bits that like there's a kind of bit like a Bishop, isn't it? It looks a bit like that.
Yeah. When he's like, broke up on the floor, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it's like there's a clever way of like using an actor, and you could tell that they've spent tons of money on this fucking like thing because they they overshoot it.
Yeah.
They like, we spent like $500,000 on this fucking thing, so we're going to really show this thing writhing around on the ground a lot. It's like, no, what you should be doing is figuring out a way of using an actor.
Yeah.
One other thing this film's got going for it is that there's a fantastic promotional tie-in that you can watch on YouTube. I'll put it in the notes, where the WCW were going at the time. Have you seen this?
I have seen that, it's really funny.
Sting is the wrestler is trapped in a cage.
Yeah,
there is Sting, not the lute playing. Not that Sting, not Geordie Sting. No, Sting the wrestler is trapped in a cage, and RoboCop like just bursts into the arena and breaks him out of the cage, which is some good stuff.
I'll buy that for $1.
There's also there's a song in this that had a video, and the video has got the band playing, and the little boy is watching the band,
Fantastic.
and Robocop's wandering around. And it's supposed to look like he's after the band, but it actually just looks like Robocop's walked into the wrong room and is really confused by what's going on. Like, it's really odd. It's a terrible song as well. But hey, let's rank this bitch. Robocop is at number 9. This is nowhere near...
10.
Number 10, yeah. This is nowhere near that.
Nope.
So, where is it going to go?
I don't think we're right down the bottom, are we? It's not like...
No.
It's not completely dreadful.
No. What are you thinking then? I mean,
Pretty
about
cool, though.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. That's another that's a sequel that was a little bit uninspiring. That's at
110.
110.
I think I quite like that, though. I think that's why it's...
Okay.
It's not as good as Total Recall.
Oh, it's definitely not as good as Total Recall. No, it's not. Is it better than?
It's better than Daryl.
Yeah, it's probably better than.
What was Daryl? I don't remember Daryl.
About the robot boy, little boy that's a robot.
Oh yeah.
It's not better than Mad Max, I don't think.
No.
And I don't know if it's better than THX 1138. Not in its
importance.
No, exactly.
But it's probably better than Daryl.
Yeah.
Is it better than Generations?
No.
No, yeah, you're never gonna. Chris is never gonna. So
No.
should we put it under Generations then?
I think it might be too high.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, it's not. We've got like Superman here, and
Is it better than Masters of the Universe? It's kind of comparable to that, I would say, in a weird way.
yeah, it is this area, isn't it? Actually, I think it is around here. Yeah, it's better than Signs. Fucking hell.
I'd have
Yeah.
it down with like
Tammy and the
Running
T-Rex. Oh, Superman. Is it better than... Superman's... It's not better than Flash Gordon. How about underneath Flash Gordon?
I don't think it's as good as Superman. Superman's not a great film, but it's kind of...
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, then. Well, is it better than...
Tammy the T-Rex.
Yeah, I enjoyed Master of the Universe more, probably.
I think I enjoyed Master Universe more as well, and Tammy the T-Rex.
But you hate Ender's Game, so...
I do hate Ender's Game. What about... it's
I'd
going
stick it
down
down
and
with-
down.
I'd stick it down with Predators.
Where's that?
181.
Well, see, in a
Ooh.
weird way, that's another sequel that I like and you guys don't. So, yeah, that probably is where it
Predators
should go,
is
isn't
fucking
it?
shite. It's better than Predators. Jason X, Minority... Yeah, probably. Actually, I do agree. This is kind of the area.
Is it better
That's
than...
better than Doom, though. Doom
Is
was- I
it
think was
better
terrible.
than Minority Report?
Uh,
Or the Matrix sequels? I think it's better than the Matrix sequels.
I don't know. I think this is... No, I don't think it is.
No?
I don't know.
So...
Thing is, I really wouldn't want to watch Minority Report ever again.
No.
No.
So she could put it above that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's better than... See, Night of the Lepus. There's some real shit that's too far up here.
It gets dodgy around here.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it
Yeah.
does get weird. So there we... Okay, let's get it
Well,
in.
hang on. Right, Running Man. That's a better film.
Yeah, and that is a better film. That's higher.
So one below that and one above Night of the Lepus.
Yeah.
Okay.
174. Well, I've just deleted Running Man. Oops. Okay, all right.
Okay, so Robocop in at 174. Very, very, very far away from its pre-
Do you remember the TV series?
of Robocop.
Yeah.
I didn't really watch it.
Was that
it
called?
good?
No, I don't remember it being very good at all.
Oh, okay.
It was
I
called.
also like it because it had the original music.
Do 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 do.
Called Prime
Like
Directive, wasn't it?
inherited the suit as well, the Robocop suit.
Was it him? It wasn't him, was it?
No, I don't think it was him. I don't even know if it's him in 3.
It's not. It's definitely not him in 3. No.
No,
But
no. Well, there you have it.
Really bad.
We've got 2 more Robocops we could do. We could do the reboot and we could do 3. But, I mean, I don't think we want to really go that way.
I wonder how long does I reboot this again?
Interesting.
Actually, I suppose in the current all cops are bad environment, you can't do it, can you? Really?
I think they're going to make, in the way that they do,
Robocop versus Terminator.
a sequel to Robocop that bypasses this universe and goes a different universe line.
Right,
So a
okay.
sequel, another
it's the
sequel to
original.
Robocop, yeah, like they did with Halloween. So you're
I think
starting
it's-
a new timeline.
I think it's a very tough thing to do.
it doesn't often work.
Well, no, I mean, especially because of like the way police are viewed now. You know.
Yeah.
And like, it turns out the truth about the police is it's much fucking worse than what we thought it was. So,
yeah, this doesn't seem like the time to be making a.
Unless Robocop walks into precinct and just fucking kills a lot of them. I don't know how that film works. You know.
Yeah, he's against the police.
Fresh slate.
Yeah, he's a robot cop against cops.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, a cop killer.
Cop killer.
Robocop killer. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, do we know what's next week? We don't really have a next week.
We do. Hang on. We do. It is... We got this chat. Next week, we are watching... Alex, you said what it was, and I can't remember what you said.
I don't remember this conversation. Oh, I've got a picture of Chris.
We're watching Next.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is
and then we're watching In Time with Justin Timberlake after that.
Oh, great. What a good run. Who's doing... Oh, we don't need to talk about this on air.
No.
Yeah. So that's your podcast.
I've got some correspondence. It's basically a comment about you two. I'll the remain anonymous person who said this, but somebody is incredulous at the fact that neither of you know how many days there are in a month.
Oh, is it you?
It's not me. No, it's not me.
Is it your wife or anyone in your family?
No, it's not me. It's an unidentified third party, but yeah, so...
I would love to quote verbatim what Chris said. I can't, but he said something. Didn't know. Was it me or Chris who just said we've got?
You said you haven't got time to worry about how many days in the month there are.
Did it, Chris? Didn't you say like I don't need to know these things. I'm an adult. I don't need to know that stuff. I've got a phone for that. Something like
but it was something very particular. It was like...
It was that you thought there were 31 days in February,
you knew that what the numbers of every month were.
Yeah. No. What it was that Chris went, we can do this on the 31st of February, something like that. And I was like, that doesn't exist. And Alex was like, what? I don't know about this. And it just seemed a bit strange.
I was like, a leap year.
Yeah.
Just do it on a leap year, yeah?
Well, I'm very sorry to those calendar-obsessed listeners out there.
Yeah, I only learned the days very recently.
Yeah. I don't think me and Chris are going to change. I'm not going to suddenly...
Fair enough.
Those rhymes aren't memorable enough, are they?
It's a London bias day. You don't have to worry about months down there, days and months down there, do you? Every day's a fucking Sunday in London, that's what I hear.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, that was all. That's the only comment I've got.
Okay, well, we'll take that. But yes, so see you next week for
next week.
Next week. Bye-bye!
Bye.